Hey, what's going on everybody? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new handheld gaming PC from one netbook known as the ONEXPLAYER Mini. Now you might be familiar with the original OneXPlyer or even the OneXPlyer 1S, and when it comes to that handheld, we've got an 8.4-inch 2K display, which in my opinion, the resolution on that was a bit overkill, and some people did complain about the size, just being a pretty massive handheld. Personally, I really enjoy the bigger screen. But with the Mini, we now have a 1920 by 1200 7-inch IPS display, which should make it a lot more manageable for people who are looking for a smaller handheld gaming PC. And basically, the only thing they've done with this is kind of shrunk it down from the original OneXPlyer. Inside of the box, you're also going to receive a USB Type-C charging cable and a 65-watt fast charger, but this does support up to 100-watt fast charging, but keep in mind, a 65-watt is included. Now, I want to give you a comparison between the original OneXPlyer we have at the top with that 8.4-inch 2K display and the Mini on the bottom. As you can see, it has shrunk by quite a bit. Round back here, we still have plenty of ventilation for that CPU, and personally, I really like what they've done with the palm rest on the Mini. It is a lot more comfortable to hold on to. Now, I've heard rumors that this was thicker than the original OneXPlyer, but put them side by side, the Mini is right on par with it, as you can see here. When it comes to the new 7-inch display, it does get a bit brighter than the older 8.4-inch display. It is a touch display. We've got 10 points of touch here with a resolution of 1920 by 1200. We still have the same built-in controls. I was always a fan of the analog sticks and the D-pad on the OneXPlyer. And as you can see, over on the left-hand side, we have that D-pad, analog stick. We have a select button up top, and the orange button near the bottom is actually a home button. This will minimize any application and bring us right back to the desktop. Over on the right-hand side, we've got our start button, A, B, X, Y, another analog stick, and we have two separate buttons near the bottom. One is going to be our keyboard function button. If we hold this, we'll get that LED lit up, and the built-in controls will act as a mouse. If we tap it one more time, it'll bring up an on-screen keyboard. Makes it really easy to navigate. And the button right below that, they're calling the Game Assistant on this version. On the original OneXPlyer, it was actually the turbo button. It would bring the TDP up. But on the Mini version, it actually brings up the Game Assistant, and this actually gives us a little more flexibility to change that TDP on the fly. On the top here, we still have those awesome analog triggers. These are great for racing games. We've got our shoulder buttons. We also have a single USB 3.0 port. USB Type-C up here is USB 4.0. So it does support Thunderbolt 4, and we can connect an external GPU to this really easily. We've also got our power button, 3.5mm audio jack, and volume control. So when it comes to the specs of the OneXPlyer Mini, for the CPU we have the i7-1195G7. 4 cores, 8 threads, base clock of 2.9 with the turbo up to 5.0. Built-in Iris Xe graphics, and this is the 96 execution unit version up to 1.4 GHz. 16 GB of LPDDR4X at 4266 MHz. You can get this with 512 GB of storage or 1 TB. They both use an M.2 SSD. 10,455 mAh battery, and unfortunately I don't know what voltage it's running at, so I can't convert it over to watt hours. But they're claiming 8 hours of video playback or 2 hours of gaming at 28 watts. We've also got Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.0, and this does come pre-installed with Windows 11. You could downgrade if you wanted to. So even though I'm a huge fan of the original OneXPlyer with that 8.4-inch screen, I gotta say this is a lot more comfortable to handle. It's a lot lighter, it's just smaller and easier to use. Everything's super easy to reach. We also have this built-in keyboard function, so we can turn the built-in controls into a mouse. We can bring up an on-screen keyboard very easily. But remember, it's got that touchscreen built in, so you could always use it like that if you want to. In this video, we're going to run some benchmarks, test out some PC games, and some emulation, but before we move over to the benchmarks, let's go ahead and test out one PC game. After all, this is a gaming handheld. And first up, we have Forza Horizon 5, 1280 by 800, medium-low settings, and I was really surprised by the performance here. We're getting well over 60 FPS, I was getting an average of 76 with this one. And this will do 1080p, but you need to go to very low settings. And with it set up like that, you can get an average of 63 FPS, 1080p, very low. But personally, I still think it looks really good on this IPS display at 1280 by 800 with this medium-low mix. Alright, so moving over to the benchmarks. First up, Geekbench 5 single core is looking phenomenal with this little chip here at 1640, multi 5579. Not the highest multi-core, but remember we've only got 4 cores and 8 threads. Taking a look at 3D Mark Night Raid, 18,099. Firestrike, 5,267. And finally, Time Spy with a 1,916. Now recently we tested the 5800U on the channel, and this does score higher in the graphics department with those built-in Iris Xe graphics. Now before we move over to some more gaming, I did want to test out their 100-watt charging claim, and it's getting really close. I do have to admit that the battery right now is actually 73%. If it was lower, there's a chance we could reach 100 watts, but 84 ain't bad at all. It does run Crysis. Here's the original Crysis at 1080 by 1200, max resolution of the built-in screen, medium settings, and performance is absolutely amazing with this one. Haven't seen it dip under 60, but we do get some dips into the 70s when there's lots of explosions and people on screen. But overall, yes, the OneXPLAYER Mini can run Crysis.
The LZ is overrun. Psycho and I are moving to the signal location. Nomad, there's a checkpoint blocking the path up the valley, so deal with that first. Transmitting the coordinates now.
MK11 was another one I wanted to test. We're at 1280 by 800, medium-low mix. Haven't seen it dip under 60, and I did try this at a higher resolution. Even at the lowest settings, I still got some dips into the lower 50s. I also tested Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and it will run it at low 1080p, or we can go down a little bit and go up to medium and even high settings at 800p. Project Cars 2 is a little all over the place when it comes to integrated graphics, and I've had this issue on Radeon integrated graphics with the Ryzen chips. We're at 1280 by 800, medium low, and as you can see, we're up there in the 80s, but it will dip down to the high 50s. So I'd say your best bet would be take this down to low, and you can run it at 60 all day on this little device. GTA 5, 1280, 800, high normal mix. I've got the textures set to high, and we're getting an average of 87 FPS out of this. I've had really good luck with these integrated Intel graphics in this game here, especially at those lower resolutions. So at 800p, you're not going to have any issues playing GTA 5. When it comes to emulation, the 1195 G7 can definitely hang with the best of them. Here's PS2 using PC-SX2, 1080p DirectX 11 backend, Soul Calibur 3 running at 60. Now I will have a full emulation video coming up because there's a lot of stuff I want to test, and this video is already getting quite long, but there are a couple more that I wanted to throw in here, like WiiU using the CEMU emulator. Just wanted to show you at least one running here. Got that Vulkan backend going, running at 60. Now when it comes to a game like Breath of the Wild, there's a chance we could do 60 at this at the 35 watt mark, but I'd say the best bet would be, taking the wattage down a little bit. I'd say 20 to 25 watts and running Breath of the Wild at 30 FPS. I'm pretty sure it's going to run well on this, and I will have it in my next full emulation video I do with the One X Mini. And finally for emulation, at least for this video, we have some PS3 using RPCS3, Vulkan backend, Tekken 6 running at 60. This game isn't the hardest one to emulate, but I still like throwing it in because it's one of my favorite Tekken games. It runs really well on the 1195 G7. So we're getting some decent performance out of this little handheld, like it sits with the integrated graphics, but one of my favorite things about these Intel-powered handhelds is Thunderbolt. This has Thunderbolt 4. I've got a Thunderbolt 3 dock here with a 3080 Ti. I had to install a bigger power supply on the back here, but it does work out quite well. So it's going to detect it. Got the fan spinning up. It automatically swapped over to the output on the GPU to my monitor. And real quick, as you can see, we still have that i7 1195 G7. Built-in Intel graphics, and that RTX 3080 Ti. So yeah, this is definitely going to up the performance. Let's go ahead and run Forza Horizon 5 again. And here it is, extreme 1080p running really well. Now we could definitely get much better out of this 3080 Ti connected over a PCIe X16 slot, but over Thunderbolt I think it's doing a pretty good job here, especially given that we're using a mobile CPU pulling 28 watts right now. So we can definitely game on the go with the OneXPlayer Mini like it sits with the integrated graphics, but once you get to where you're going, you can plug in your eGPU and just up the performance dramatically. So in the end, I really do like the form factor of the OneXPlayer Mini. It is much more comfortable to hold than the original OneXPlayer, given that it's just a smaller footprint and it is a lot lighter than the 8.4-inch version. And when it comes to performance versus the original, this is definitely going to outperform the one with the i7-1165G7, and it's going to be right on par with the One S, or the OneXPlayer One S, that contains the same CPU, the i7-1195G7. So yeah, for what we have here with those built-in Intel graphics, I do think it performs well. Plus we have the option of Thunderbolt 4 so we can connect an eGPU and just up the performance on this thing. It really does make a huge difference. Like I mentioned, I will have a full emulation video coming up. Got a lot of stuff to test there. And if there's any other PC games you want to see running on the OneXPlayer Mini, just let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about this little handheld gaming PC, I will leave a link in the description. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. And like always, thanks for watching.